Hello everybody, I believe this is my last video due out for Friday. Daily stuff, apologize, I've been traveling and thought I'd have time to do this and I haven't been able to make time. So just a reminder, not a qualified licensed investment or financial advisor. I gather the data, present it to you to make your own decisions and form your own opinions. As a reminder that YieldMax ETFs are extremely risky. These risks right here are defined on their website. Make sure you check those out and make sure you understand before investing in these. Okay, so Friday, this is going to be a long, probably the longest video. However, see, it's 1 a.m. and I do have military duty today, and so I'm going to try my best to get through this as quickly as possible. I apologize if I go through this too quick and skip things that I may normally do. So anyway, we're going to jump right in. AIYY, we have no trades here. So we're going to go straight to holdings. And we have a short call that expires this week. This coming Friday with a strike price of $25, which we're currently under by 4%. Let me, I guess, do this for the first one. For all of the ETFs with the exception of CRSH. This will apply to, but I'm not going to go over that in this video. I did do a video separate from this one, but in the future I will be including either crush or crash, whichever you want to call it. But here on these, for our short call, we normally want our stock price to be above the synthetic strike price, but below the short call strike price. In this case, they're exactly the same. So anyway, hence column L, if it's red, bad, green, good. Okay, try to make that a little simple there. Same thing in column AB. If we look here, that negative 35 means it's bringing the share price down 35 cents because the synthetic is 4% underneath its strike price of $25. And then in the case of the short call, it is positive that we are under our short call strike price. However, yes, it is going to be it is negative 16 cents. One, it was a week away, and then two, it's always going to be negative, even if it's just negative 1 cent. Okay, so understand that. And in the case of these short calls, I have a possible upside column here. Still not 100%. I don't know, and probably I don't know that I would ever know that this is 100% accurate, but it just gives you an idea now. If we go into some of these and you see there's multiples, don't expect that you can add all those up together because it's not going to be possible. So just in this case, at AMDY, or I don't think it would be possible. But AMDY, you see here they had these split between these, so I don't know. Maybe it can go up that much. Depends on, how this affects the synthetic strike price, which means it should come up. But I can't guarantee that the stock price is going to go up 24 cents, as it keeps rising above this one. So just keep that in mind. And you can see they're even shares. So to say in this case 155 and we're at 150. So if this stock price goes up $5 to get that 24 cents, well, how much negative is this one going to go because it went $5 more past its share price? You see what I'm saying? So I don't know. I haven't been able to. This is again something fairly new, and we went down for so long. We weren't going up for me to even be able to check this out to see how these affect each other. So maybe over the next couple of weeks I can pay more attention. But I'm not even going to go through those anymore on the side. You'll see the data there, and just after reviewing this, I'll give you a brief understanding of it, just to make this video go faster for this one, okay? I do apologize. And all the synthetics... No, not all of the synthetics are out. If is a synthetic that's short buy, then I might mention it. But for these long July ones, I'm not going to go into depth here. All right. Sort of give you the lay of the land and what I'm going to do and not going to do, and give you the information so you understand this stuff. On the left-hand side, obviously, we have our Thursday close stock price, Friday close stock price, the NAV, then Thursday close underlying stock price, Friday's close of the underlying stock price, the total market value of the short calls, total market value of the synthetics, net assets, and shares outstanding. Sorry for all those that already know all that data. Anyway, so we're going to move on to AMDY. So we can see here that they closed out the short position. That's not right. Shoot. Okay, so this is right. Sorry, I paused the video and double checked. What it was is that they had closed out of some of the short calls that they had, some of the contracts they had, and they did not use them. So now they're utilizing them. So that's why we have a difference of 190 from 195 to the 3,000 something. So they closed the 195 contracts out. You see, it cost them $45,000. And then they created a new short call position that expires next Friday at the 155 strike price, which actually we would see, my goodness, if we went over to the holdings tab. All right, so here we go. You can see that those new ones with that new short call there with the 155 strike price. So you can see we're currently 3% underneath that. However, we have the short call here that expires next week at the 150 strike price, which we're already over by 58 cents, hence the red 0% there. We also have our synthetic position with the strike price of 160 that expires in 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks, in which we're underneath by 6%. So that's bringing the stock price down $1 a share there. But we have a couple of weeks on that one. So let's move over to our next one, which is AMZ here. So they closed out of the 3 calls that were going to that expired on Friday. That's not good. So let's look. So Amazon closed at 186. So they were above on that first and third line. They were above the strike prices on those two. So that's why it cost them so much. Almost $3 a share and over $5 a share there to close those out. So just to close out these short calls there, it cost $444,000. And then, let's see. 41.45. Okay. Then they opened up 2 new short call positions for this week with this week that we're in now, which is going to be expiration of Friday, May 10th. Sorry, I am recording this Monday morning at 1 a.m., so I apologize. My words, last week, yesterday, they may be a little off here, since I do normally do these the night of. But we have the new strike prices here of $190 and $187.50 for all of those contracts. You can see total 426,000 in trades. So let's go over here. We see AMZ here. You see the new short calls right there. We're currently underneath those strike prices 1% and 2%. We do have our synthetics that expire in 2 weeks. All right, we're going to go over to Apple here. Let's just look real quick. All right. So for Apple, we're going to look at the short calls. Well, I guess we need to look at both because they're only going to show. I say only. Yeah, no. Oh my goodness, this is what I get for trying to rush. Why did they leave 30? Is that a typo? I think somebody made a typo. Either they forgot to sell the 30 or they forgot to enter it on the sheet for the holdings to be adjusted. One or the other. But so you can show here they have documented that they have closed out or rolled 3,300 here contracts from the May 17th expiration to the July 19th expiration. The strike price for the May 17th was 170. The new one for July 19th is 185. Then we have our short calls that expired on Friday, 175 and 177.50. Let's just make sure. 32.50, 32.50. All right. So they took those, closed those out, and then open up a new position with the expiration date in 2 weeks, May 17th. Oh, this is really going to mess up all of my... I had to pay very close attention and scrub my data now that all these short calls are going to be in the same dates as some synthetic stuff here. But anyway, they closed those two out, and I don't even understand. This is Apple, right? Yeah. They're going out 2 weeks with the strike price of 190 and 195. All right, let's move on. Well, they brought in a total of 1.8 million in trades. So we can see here lots of these transactions here on the left we just went over, so I'm not going to go over them again today. In fact, we probably shouldn't even show those first 3 columns here today because we're going to be going over all of the trades anyway on the trades tab, which we don't normally do, but we will we'll close that for today. Anyway, so you can see here we have, they're all in between each other too. So we have 2 synthetic positions now because it doesn't show that one being fully closed out with the 30 contracts. And you see the new one with the 185, which are already underneath. And then we have, let's just look at the short call. So we do have a short call for this week, which we only have 75 contracts at, the 177.50. And then we have the 2 new short calls with the strike prices of 190. Ooh. Okay, so let's go back. 177.50. So we're over that by 3% because the stock price rose, it looks like a lot on Friday. It went from 173 to 183. It jumped $10. And once we hit over $5.50, we were above the strike price there. So we'll see what they do at those. Right now it's not too much because it's only 75 contracts. But anyway, then we have the other 2 short calls there with the strike price of 190, 195, which were under 3 and 6%. All right, I'm going to jump to the next one. Coney, they closed out the 4 short calls that expired on Friday with all the different strike prices there, and then they rolled them all to one strike price for next week, which is $237.50. So we see the new 137.50 there, which we're currently under 6%. And we also have the short call of 255, which we're under by 12%. And these both expire on Friday. Then we have a synthetic position that we are under by 14% still. That expires in 2 weeks. And that synthetic position is bringing Coney stock price down $4 a share there. Let's see what we had for Dizzo, if anything. Dizzo, so they closed out the short call that expired on Friday with a 114 strike, and they rolled that to next Friday, or this now this Friday at a 120 strike price. So if we move over here to the holdings, we can see our new 120 strike price there, which we're under by 5%, which is so happens to be the same strike price for our synthetic position in 120, which are below by 5%. Synthetics currently bringing the stock price down $1.10 a share there. Phoebe, let's look at the trades that were just closed out. So they closed out 4 short calls that expired on Friday. Yep. And then they rolled all those to next Friday, or May 10th, for 460 strike price there. So 1 strike price. And if we look here, we have 2 short calls, the 455 and 460. We're underneath those 1 and 2%. The majority of our contracts sitting at the 460. And then we have 2 synthetic positions, which were under 12 and 14%. So those synthetic positions are bringing the stop price down over $3 there. Go over here, look at GUI. They close out the short call that expired on Friday with the 160 strike price. So it says they closed out 1,000 and but opened up 1,500. All right, and that's because they closed out some. They closed out their short call, an extra 500 shares last week, and did not use them. So here, this 1,500 is okay. It will be even when we look at the holdings. So if we look over here, we can see that our short call and synthetics holdings match there. We have our 2 short calls, 455. No, I'm sorry. I thought I'd already moved it. Here we can see that our synthetic and our short call match. Our short call 170 were underneath by 2% only. And Google, or Alphabet, I was thinking, had been going up. So I'm not sure how that's going to work, but we also have our synthetic positions with a strike price of 170 that expire in 2 weeks. Currently, those synthetics are bringing the stock price down 25 cents a share. So let's look at JPMO. JPMO closed out 2 short calls that they had that expired on Friday. I guess I don't have any. Sorry, I was thinking I had something I could close that extra column out with. But anyway, they had 195 and 197.50 strike prices on those. Looks like they only closed them out for a cent. They rolled those to this week's to Friday expiration, 192.50 and a 195 strike price. They didn't really split those evenly, so I'm not sure why there. But anyway, let's move over to the holdings. We have the 2 short calls there, which were only under 1 and 2%. So we're under that, roughly $1 for the one. So it makes the other one $3.50. And then we also have our synthetic position. We're currently under 5% still. And, yeah, it's bringing the stock price down for the synthetic 95 cents a share. Murney, there were no trades over there, so let's just look here. We have our short call, expires Friday with the 131 strike price, which are currently under by 5%, and we're above our synthetic, so looking good there. Let's look over here at MSFO. So they closed out the 2 short calls that expired on Friday with the strike prices of 420 and 407.50. They ended up paying 40 cents a share for the one at 407.50. It must have been I don't know when they closed out. They didn't close out above it, but anyway, So they moved all of those. They rolled all of those to next week to Friday strike price with one strike price of $412.50. So if we look over here, we see that $412.50. We're only underneath by 1%, which is still like, I don't know. I don't want to do math this early in the morning. $6 roughly. But we have our synthetic, which we're underneath by 4%, which is bringing the stock price down at 96 cents a share. We're going to move on to Misty here. Misty closed out their short calls. There was 5 of them that expired on Friday. And, I guess they were over. Yep, they were over that first one there by 4%, which had 110 contracts at it. You can see they rolled that one to next week at the 13.15 straight price. Okay. And then all these will also be at the 13.15 straight price for next week. But it cost them almost $500,000 to close out those 110 contracts, or to roll those to next week. Of course, rolling it offset that price some. But anyway, you can see the 2 new short calls there that they have. Well, it says 2, and there's 2 lines, and they say new, but it's the same straight price, the 13.15 for the total number of contracts. So let's move over here. We see Misty with that 1 short call there, where we're currently under by 7%. And the synthetics don't expire for a couple of weeks, and we're above those by 6%. So looking good there. And then we have Nephle trades here. They closed out the short call that expired Friday with a 570 strike price. Cost $7 a share to close out. 579. Yeah, they were over the strike price, roughly $9 at least at the end of the day. Cost them over $500,000 to close those out. They ended up rolling those to next Friday, May 10th, with a strike price of $585. So if we go over to the holdings, we can see that $585 strike price, which we're only under 1%, which is a little over $6. Of course, we have our synthetic that we're underneath by 9% still, which is bringing the stock price down roughly $1.16 a share. We're going to move on to NVIDIA. They had 2 short calls that expired on Friday that were closed out. They ended up paying $22 for one to close it out, so $8.87. The strike price was $8.65. So they ended up rolling both of these to next week at the $9.20 strike price. My goodness. I guess I'm getting tired and I'm accidentally double clicking. So we want to pull up the holdings for NVIDIA. Right. Yep. We're on NVIDIA. Just going to get that ready while I was waiting on the holdings to reload. Okay. In NVIDIA here, so we have 2 short calls, a 890 and a 920. Of course, we're under the 920, just a couple of dollars, or the 820 by a couple of dollars. We're under the 920 by 3%. We have a synthetic position that we're currently under 3% that expires in 2 weeks, which is bringing the stock price down 75 cents a share by that. But let's look at OARC. We did have a trade there. So OARC here closed their short call that expired on Friday. Had a $45 strike price. They rolled them to next week to a $46 strike price. Yeah, they were over the strike price at the end of the day. They closed at $45.30. So OARC here has the 1 short call, which we're only under by 53 cents. It says 1%, but it's 53 cents. We also have a synthetic position that we're under by 9%, which is bringing the stock price down roughly $1.18 a share. And then PayPay didn't have any trades, and then we will come back for Squee. So PayPay here has 2 short calls with the strike prices 68 and 69, which were under by 3 and 5%. And then their synthetic does not expire until July. And then we have Squee, so let's look at those trades real quick. Squee here closed out the short calls that expired on Friday. And they, 1 cent, they rolled them to next week. Wow, that's a big drop, $10 drop. New short calls that will expire on Friday, May 10th, strike prices of $72 and $73. So we can see that here, 72, 73. We're currently underneath those 4 and 5%. Of course, we have our synthetic position, so we hope this comes up, right? We have a synthetic position here that we're currently under by 13%, and it expires in 2 weeks. Right now, it's bringing the share price down to $3.25. So let's move on to Tesla. We go down, we can see here that they closed out the 4 short calls that expired on Friday. Well, it's technically, I guess it's 3. They have the 180, the 195, and the 197.50 strike prices. They just have those 180s broken out. As you can see, they rolled those to next week with a 185 strike price, because they did close over those at 181.14. And then the rest of the contracts went to the 182.50 strike price for next week. I'm guessing they made those before Tesla stock price went up. I don't know where the Tesla stock price was at on Friday at this point. But they brought in almost $5.18 million on Friday. But you can see they have 3 short calls, which is the ones we just talked about. We're underneath those by 1. We talked about the ones they closed. We did not talk about the ones they opened. I do apologize. So they opened up the new short calls that will expire this Friday, May 10th. The strike prices are 182.50 and 185. All right, so now we see those here, and then we have the 225 that was opened up a week or so ago. They did those out further out, but anyway, so underneath the new ones 1 and 2%, and that other one were underneath by 19% there. And these synthetic positions were pushed out till July, so those are looking good right now. And then let's go look at Zomo. Zomo here closed out the short calls that expired on Friday, 119 and 124 strike price, and they were rolled next week at a 117 strike price. All right. So if we look here, we see the 117 strike price, which we're currently only under 1% or $1. And then we have our synthetic positions that were under 3% with a strike price of 120. And yeah, so it's bringing the stock price down roughly 73 cents a share. I apologize for trying to rush through this, even though it doesn't seem like I really got through this any quicker. But anyway, thanks for hanging out with me, guys. I'll try to do better tomorrow and the rest of the week on getting these out. But anyway, I will talk to y'all later. Bye.